My name is Grace Myers. I'm 36 years old. 20 years ago, my parents threw me out of the house because I got pregnant in 10th grade. I was 16. It was raining hard that night. Cold November rain. I stood on the porch with one suitcase while my mother pointed at the door and told me I was dead to them. That same night, they signed papers removing me from the family forever. Not just me. My unborn child too. I kept those papers. I kept everything. For 20 years, I disappeared from their world. They told everyone I had moved overseas. They built a perfect fake story while pretending their youngest daughter never existed. Then last week, they suddenly showed up at my house smiling like nothing had happened. They wanted to meet their grandson. A grandson they had already bragged about to hundreds of rich friends. They offered me $250,000 to play happy family for one night. There was only one problem. The grandson they kept talking about didn't exist. And the truth waiting inside my house was about to destroy everything they spent 50 years building. Portland, Oregon. November, 2004. I was 16 years old and a sophomore at St. Catherine's Academy. On the outside, my family looked perfect. My father, Richard Myers, owned a successful law firm downtown. My mother, Diane Myers, was president of the PTA and one of the most respected women at church. Every Sunday, we sat in the front row at Grace Fellowship Church wearing matching outfits my mother picked out herself. People smiled at us. They admired us. They called us blessed. But inside the house, things felt very different. Every family has favorites. Mine did too. My older brother Nathan was 22 and studying dentistry. My parents talked about him like he was the future of the family. My sister Carolyn was 20 and studying to become a teacher. She was beautiful, quiet, obedient, and exactly what my mother wanted. Then there was me. I was the surprise child. My mother once said that out loud during an argument. You were never part of the plan, Grace. I never forgot hearing those words. The signs were small but painful. Family photos in the living room somehow never included my school pictures. At dinner, everyone talked about Nathan's grades or Carolyn's future. If I mentioned something good happening in my life, my father would barely look up. That's nice, Grace. Then the conversation would move on. After a while, I learned how to stay quiet. How to take up less space. How not to need too much. My father loved repeating one sentence. Reputation takes 20 years to build and 5 minutes to destroy. Back then, I didn't understand how important those words would become. I met Marcus Webb at the downtown public library. The library was my escape. Nobody compared me to my siblings there. Nobody made me feel unwanted. I went 3 afternoons every week just to breathe. One afternoon in October, my mother forgot to pick me up from school for the 3rd time that month. I sat in the biography section trying not to cry. That's when Marcus walked over. He had warm brown eyes and grease stains on his jacket from helping at his uncle's auto shop. Hey, he said softly. You okay? I looked up at him. Nobody had asked me that in a very long time. Marcus went to Jefferson High, the public school my parents acted like didn't even exist. He was kind. Gentle. Funny without trying too hard. When he talked to me, I felt important. Like I mattered. We started dating in secret. For 2 months, I finally felt happy. Then everything changed. October 28, 2004. I still remember staring at the pregnancy test inside a gas station bathroom 3 miles from school. 2 pink lines. My hand shook so badly I almost dropped it. I thought my whole world was ending. When I told Marcus, he didn't run away. He held my hands tightly. We'll figure it out together, he whispered. You're not alone. Part of me believed him. But another part already knew what my parents would do. They cared more about appearances than people. I knew their first question wouldn't be, "Are you okay?" It would be. What will people think? I decided to tell them during Sunday dinner. I had no idea it would be the last meal I ever ate in that house. Sunday, November 14, 2004. The roast beef was dry. It's strange what details stay with you forever. My father complained about a property case while my mother talked about the church Christmas gala. Nathan was home for the weekend. Carolyn had come back from college. I stared down at my plate trying to breathe. Finally, I spoke. I need to tell you something. The table went quiet. 4 faces turned toward me. I'm pregnant. My mother dropped her fork. My father didn't move. Who is the father? He asked coldly. His name is Marcus Webb. From St. Catherine's? No. Jefferson High. The room changed instantly. You've been seeing a boy from public school? My mother whispered. He's a good person, I said quickly. He works hard. My father cut me off. What does his family do? He lives with his uncle. He works at an auto shop. Silence. Heavy silence. Then my father stood up. You will not keep that baby. My chest tightened. I'm keeping my child. You are not destroying this family. His voice echoed through the dining room. My mother looked pale. Nathan stared at the table. Carolyn looked like she wanted to disappear. If you keep that baby, my father said slowly, you are no longer part of this family. I waited for someone to defend me. Anyone. Nobody did. By 9:15 that night, I was standing outside in the rain with one suitcase. My sweater was soaked. My mother stood in the doorway. Not my father. My mother. She pointed outside. Leave. I looked up toward the second-floor window. Nathan and Carolyn were standing there watching. Neither of them came downstairs. I walked through the rain until I reached a gas station on Mulberry Street. My hands shook while I used the pay phone. Marcus answered immediately. Grace? What's wrong? They kicked me out. 20 minutes later, his uncle's truck pulled into the parking lot. Marcus jumped out before it fully stopped. He wrapped his jacket around me and pulled me into his arms. I've got you, he whispered while I cried against his chest. I've got you. We had no plan. Just $300, an old truck, and fear. Then Margaret Torres saved my life. Mrs. Torres lived 3 houses away from my parents. She was 62 years old, retired, and one of the only people in our neighborhood who never acted afraid of my father. She had seen me standing outside in the rain. You can stay with me, she said when I knocked on her door late that night. As long as you need. I almost broke down crying again. For 2 weeks, Marcus and I stayed in her guest room. Then Marcus found us a tiny studio apartment in Seattle above a laundromat. The place smelled like bleach and old soap. But it was ours. 3 days after my parents threw me out, I received certified mail. My father had hired a lawyer. The document officially removed me from the family. It said the Myers family had no legal or moral responsibility toward me or any child born to me. I read it 3 times. Then I folded it carefully and kept it. For 20 years. My daughter, Lily Grace Myers Webb, was born July 6, 2005. 7 pounds, 4 ounces. 10 fingers. 10 toes. Marcus's brown eyes. My stubborn chin. She entered the world screaming. I remember holding her and thinking. Good. Scream loudly. Never let anyone make you small. The first few years were survival. Marcus worked double shifts at the repair shop. I studied for my GED while taking care of Lily. Some nights we ate ramen noodles because that's all we could afford. I learned how to sew old clothes together instead of buying new ones. I stretched every dollar until it hurt. When Lily was born, I mailed my parents a birth announcement. No reply. On her first birthday, I sent them a photo. Nothing. After that, I stopped trying. Marcus and I always planned to get married someday. But someday kept moving further away. Then on March 15, 2010, everything shattered. A delivery truck ran a red light. Marcus died instantly. He was only 26 years old. Lily was 4. The police officer standing at my door looked uncomfortable while he spoke. I barely heard him. The world felt silent. Empty. Marcus's work insurance paid me $12,000. That was it. $12,000 for the life of the only person who truly chose me. I was 22 years old. A single mother. Completely alone. I could have given up. I didn't. Before Marcus died, I had started helping people decorate apartments. I staged homes for small real estate agents. People liked my work. They said I could make any room feel warm. After Marcus died, I threw myself into that work. Because I had to survive. Because Lily deserved better. In 2012, I met Eleanor Vance at a design workshop. She had once been a famous creative director. After looking through my work, she smiled. "You have talent," she said. Real talent. Nobody had ever said that to me before. She became my mentor. In 2014, after 3 rejected applications and endless stress, I finally got a small business loan. I started Hearth Home Interiors. Our first office was basically a closet. But it was mine. By 2018, I had 8 employees. By 2022, Seattle Met magazine wrote an article about me. From teen mom to design CEO. The reporter interviewed me for 3 days. I told her about getting pregnant at 16. Being thrown out. Losing Marcus. Building a company from nothing. But I never said my parents' names. Not to protect them. To protect Lily. By 2024, my company made over $4 million a year. I had 22 employees. A beautiful office overlooking Seattle. And Lily? She was 19 years old and studying psychology at the University of Washington. She was smart. Strong. Observant. She noticed everything. She was everything I hoped she would become. Then, after 20 years of silence, my parents came back. Tuesday, November 5, 2024. I had just returned home from a meeting with a wealthy client when I saw the black Mercedes parked outside my house. Oregon plates. My stomach dropped. 2 people stood near my front door. Older now. Gray hair. Wrinkles. But instantly recognizable. Richard and Diane Myers. My parents. For 1 full minute, I sat inside my car gripping the steering wheel. Part of me wanted to drive away. Pretend I never saw them. But I wasn't 16 anymore. I had built a life without them. So I got out of the car. My father spoke first. "Grace. You look." His eyes moved across my coat, my house, my car. "Successful. What are you doing here?" I asked. My mother stepped forward. "We know about your son." I stared at her. "We'd like to meet our grandson," my father added. I almost laughed. 20 years. 20 years pretending I didn't exist. And now suddenly they wanted family. I let them inside. Even now, I'm not fully sure why. Maybe I needed to hear how far their lies had gone. My father sat in my living room studying everything like he was judging property value. My mother perched stiffly on the sofa. "It's your anniversary," I said quietly. 50 years, my father answered proudly. "We're hosting a large celebration," my mother added. 200 guests. I folded my arms. And? My parents exchanged a look. "People have been asking questions," my mother admitted. "About you." My father cleared his throat. "We've always told everyone you moved abroad." So you need me to appear and pretend everything is perfect. We need your son, my mother said. The room became very still. You told people I have a son? We read your article, my father replied impatiently. It mentioned your child. You assumed the rest. My father pulled out a checkbook. We're prepared to compensate you. He placed a blank check on my coffee table. $250,000. I stared at it. You bring your son to the party, he continued. Stay a few hours. Take photos. Then you return to your life. My mother leaned forward. And we'll restore your place in the family trust. I felt sick. They really thought money could erase 20 years. And if I refuse? My father's expression hardened. We may contact your son ourselves. Explain the situation. It was a threat. Quiet. Cold. Familiar. You want to contact my child? We want to be a family again, my mother whispered. Before I could answer, footsteps echoed from upstairs. Mom? Everything okay? Lily walked into the room wearing sweatpants and a UW hoodie. My mother looked confused. Who is this? I stood beside my daughter. This is Lily. My daughter. My father blinked. Daughter? The article only said child, I replied. You assumed grandson. Lily slowly looked between us. Understanding spread across her face. These are them? She asked quietly. The grandparents who threw you out. My mother flinched. It was complicated. Which part? Lily interrupted. The part where you threw a pregnant teenager into the rain? Or the part where you lied about her for 20 years? My father stiffened. Young lady. I'm not your young lady, Lily snapped. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice stayed strong. I'm the grandchild you didn't want. Silence filled the room. Then my father adjusted quickly. A granddaughter changes nothing, he said. She can still attend the party. As what? Lily asked sharply. The granddaughter you secretly hid for 19 years? We can explain it, my mother said desperately. We'll say you lived abroad. I was born in Seattle, Lily answered. I've never even had a passport. My father checked his watch. The party is November 15th. We need an answer soon. I stood up. You should leave. At the door, my mother paused. This could heal the family, Grace. Then they walked away. The second their car disappeared, Lily turned to me. You're not actually considering this, right? I looked at my daughter. The child they erased before she was even born. No, I said quietly. But I'm not done with them yet. That night, after Lily went upstairs, I opened a fireproof lockbox hidden in my closet. Inside were the documents from 20 years earlier. The disinheritance papers. My father's signature. My mother's signature. Cold legal language stripping me from the family. Stripping Lily too. I took photos of every page. Uploaded backups. Saved copies everywhere. Mom? I looked up. Lily stood in the doorway. She sat beside me and slowly read the papers. When she finished, tears filled her eyes. They really erased you, she whispered. Yes. What are you going to do? I looked down at the papers. I don't know yet. But deep inside, I already felt something changing. The next morning, I called Margaret Torres. She answered immediately. Grace? Honey, what's wrong? I told her everything. The fake grandson. The anniversary party. The money. Mrs. Torres became quiet. Those people haven't changed at all, she finally said. Then I asked her something important. That night in 2004, do you remember it clearly? Like yesterday, she answered instantly. Do you still have your old security footage? A pause. Then, I never throw anything away. 20 minutes later, she emailed me a grainy image. A 16-year-old girl standing in the rain with one suitcase. Timestamped. November 14, 2004. 9:17 p.m. My parents' address clearly visible. That's you, Mrs. Torres said over the phone. That's the night they threw you away. My throat tightened. Would you testify if needed? Honey, she said fiercely, I've waited 20 years for somebody to finally tell the truth. Now I had evidence. And witnesses. I just needed a plan. That evening, I reread the Seattle Met article. Thousands of comments filled the page. People saying my story gave them hope. People sharing stories about being abandoned by family. Then I noticed one comment posted recently. Is she related to the Myers family in Portland? That's how my parents found me. Later that night, Eleanor called. What do you need? She asked. Advice. You already know the truth, she said. Don't let them turn you into a prop for their perfect image. But by then, my mind was already moving towards something bigger. 2 days later, my phone rang again. Nathan. I froze hearing his voice after 20 years. Grace, he said shakily. I know I don't deserve this call. I stayed silent. The grandson story came from Mom, he admitted. She misunderstood the article and invented this whole successful grandson fantasy. I closed my eyes. Even now, they were still lying. Why are you telling me this? Because I was a coward. His voice cracked. I should have come downstairs that night. I should have stopped them. Pain rushed through me. For 20 years, I had imagined hearing those words. Carolyn feels the same way, he continued. We failed you. I swallowed hard. Nathan told me something else. The anniversary party would be live-streamed through the church Facebook page. Hundreds of people would watch online. That changed everything. The next day, my father called again. Final offer, he said immediately. $250,000 and reinstatement into the family trust. I talked to Nathan. Silence. He told me about the imaginary grandson. My father sounded irritated. We may have exaggerated slightly. You invented an entire human being. You have no right to judge us, he snapped. Something inside me hardened. I was 16 years old, I said slowly. Pregnant and terrified. I needed my parents. And you chose reputation over your child. If you refuse this opportunity, he warned, you'll never be part of this family again. I almost laughed. You already said that 20 years ago. Then I hung up. That night, Lily and Eleanor sat with me at the dining table. They want a performance, Eleanor said. They want control, Lily added. I looked at both of them. I'm going to that party. Lily's eyes widened. Not to help them, I said. To finally tell the truth. I showed them the documents. The photos. The evidence. They spent 20 years pretending I disappeared, I whispered. I'm done being invisible. I'm coming with you, Lily said immediately. I reached for her hand. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Her eyes filled with emotion. They need to see who I really am. That night, I called Nathan. Don't warn Mom and Dad, I told him. What are you planning? I stared out at the Seattle skyline. The truth. Saturday, November 15, 2024. The Crystal Ballroom at the Heathman Hotel looked exactly how my parents would want it. Perfect. Elegant. Expensive. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead. Women wore diamonds. Men carried champagne glasses. Every table looked carefully arranged. Lily stood beside me near the entrance. She wore a navy blue dress. I wore black. Simple. Sharp. Impossible to ignore. You okay? She whispered. I'm terrified. She smiled slightly. That means you're brave. We walked inside. At the far end of the ballroom, my parents stood on stage greeting guests. My father wore a navy suit. My mother wore champagne-colored silk. Both looked completely confident. Like they had already won. Then people started noticing us. Whispers spread across the room. That's her. The daughter from the article. I thought she lived in Europe. My mother looked up first. Her face froze. My father stopped speaking mid-sentence. I kept walking toward the stage. The crowd slowly moved aside. Nathan and Carolyn stood off to the side watching silently. Grace, my father said into the microphone. What a surprise. I climbed onto the stage. Then I gently took the microphone from his hand. The ballroom became completely silent. Hello, everyone, I said. My name is Grace Myers. I'm Richard and Diane Myers' youngest daughter. I paused. The daughter they told you moved overseas 20 years ago. Shock spread through the crowd. I didn't move overseas, I continued. On November 14, 2004, my parents discovered I was pregnant at 16 years old. They threw me out of the house that same night. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. They hired a lawyer and legally removed me from the family. I pulled the papers from my bag. These are the documents. I held them up for everyone to see. My parents told me they had no legal or moral responsibility toward me or my child. I looked toward Lily. The child they erased was my daughter. Not a grandson. The grandson they'd been bragging about for months doesn't exist. My father grabbed for the microphone. Grace, stop this. When exactly should I tell the truth? I asked calmly. You came to my house last week and offered me $250,000 to pretend your lies were real. The room exploded with whispers. I turned toward the crowd. For 20 years, my parents hid what they did because reputation mattered more than their daughter. Pastor Harrison stepped forward. Richard, he said carefully. Is this true? My father looked trapped. It was a difficult time, he muttered. You threw me out because I was pregnant, I answered firmly. Nathan suddenly stepped onto the stage. She's telling the truth. The entire ballroom froze. Carolyn and I watched from upstairs that night, Nathan admitted. We never stopped it. That was our failure. Carolyn stood beside him crying silently. Then Mrs. Torres stood from the back of the ballroom. I saw that child standing in the rain, she said loudly. I gave her somewhere safe to sleep. Phones came out everywhere. People started recording. The livestream comments exploded. My mother finally broke down crying. Real crying. Not careful tears. Messy tears. Pastor Harrison looked horrified. Richard, he repeated slowly, did you really abandon your pregnant daughter? My father couldn't answer. For the first time in my life, he had no control. I handed the microphone back to him. I didn't come here for revenge, I said quietly. I came because I'm done being erased. Then I faced the crowd one last time. 20 years ago, I left home with nothing. Today, I own a successful company and my daughter attends the University of Washington. We built our lives without the Myers family. Lily stepped onto the stage beside me. I'm Lily, she said into the microphone. The granddaughter they never wanted. Her voice shook slightly. You could have known me, she told my parents. You could have been at my birthdays. My school plays. My graduation. Tears filled her eyes. You chose not to. The ballroom felt painfully silent. Then Lily handed the microphone back. We walked toward the exit together. Right before leaving, I turned back. One more thing. Everyone looked at me. I'm not suing my parents. I'm not fighting for money. I'm keeping those papers as a reminder of who they chose to be. I looked directly at Richard and Diane. But if you ever lie about me or my daughter again, I will release every document publicly. Then Lily and I walked out into the cold November night. For the first time in 20 years, I felt like I could finally breathe. Outside the hotel, Lily squeezed my hand. "Did we do the right thing?" she asked softly. I thought about 16-year-old Grace standing in the rain. Scared. Pregnant. Alone. Then I looked at the incredible young woman beside me. "We told the truth," I answered. "That's not revenge. That's justice." The fallout started immediately. By midnight, clips from the livestream had spread across social media. By morning, millions of people had seen pieces of the story. The video titles were brutal. Woman exposes parents at anniversary party. Parents lied about daughter for 20 years. People online were furious. Nathan called me the next morning. 47 guests left the party right after you did, he said. The mayor walked out. Church members were crying. Within days, my father resigned from his church leadership position. The Rotary Club began reviewing his membership. People who once admired my parents suddenly saw them differently. Not because I lied. Because I stopped hiding the truth. At the same time, messages flooded my inbox. Hundreds of them. Women abandoned by family. Teen mothers. Children who grew up feeling unwanted. One message simply said, "Your story made me feel less alone." I cried reading that. A week later, Nathan and Carolyn visited my house for the first time. Their children played in my backyard while we sat in the living room talking for hours. Nathan looked exhausted. "I'm sorry," he whispered finally. "I know it doesn't fix anything." "No," I said honestly. "It doesn't." Then I softened slightly. "But it matters that you finally said it." Carolyn cried when she hugged Lily. Watching them together felt strange. Painful. But hopeful too. Maybe not everything broken stays broken forever. Then one evening, my phone rang. My mother. Her voice sounded smaller than I remembered. "I'm not calling to ask for forgiveness," she said immediately. I stayed quiet. I watched the video again. A shaky breath. "I kept looking at your face trying to remember my daughter." My chest tightened. "Your father isn't handling this well," she admitted softly. "People look at him differently now." "I didn't do this to punish you," I said. "I know." She started crying. Lily said she spent her whole life believing we didn't want her. Another broken breath. And she was right. I closed my eyes. "I'm not ready to forgive you," I whispered. "You may never be," she answered. For once, she didn't argue. We stayed silent for almost a full minute. Then she quietly said goodbye. And for the first time in 20 years, it felt real. Not fixed. Not healed. But real. Thanksgiving 2024. My dining table seated 12 people. For the first time ever, every chair was filled. Lily sat beside me. Eleanor laughed with Mrs. Torres in the kitchen. Nathan carved the turkey. Carolyn's children ran through the house arguing over dessert. My parents weren't there. Maybe they never would be. But standing in that kitchen, I realized something important. For years, I mourned a family that never truly chose me. Now I was surrounded by people who did. People who wanted me exactly as I was. Not smaller. Not quieter. Not hidden. Lily stood up holding a folded paper. "I wrote something," she said nervously. The room became quiet. "When I was little," she began, "I used to wonder why I didn't have grandparents like everyone else." She looked at me. "Mom always told me the truth. She never lied to protect herself." Her voice softened. "She taught me that other people's cruelty doesn't decide your worth." Tears burned my eyes. Everything good in my life exists because my mother refused to disappear. Then she raised her glass. "To the family we build ourselves." Everyone lifted their glasses. Later that night, after dinner ended and laughter filled the house, I stood by the kitchen window. Lily walked beside me. "You okay?" she asked. I looked around my home. At the people inside it. At the life I built from almost nothing. And for the first time in a very long time, the answer came easily. "Yeah," I whispered. "I really am." 20 years ago, I stood in the rain believing my life was over. I thought being abandoned meant I had no future. I was wrong. I had Marcus. I had Mrs. Torres. I had Eleanor. I had Lily. And eventually, I had myself. The version of me that stopped begging for permission to exist. My parents still haven't truly apologized. My father barely speaks. My mother calls sometimes. Nathan and Carolyn are trying. Maybe healing will happen slowly. Maybe it won't happen at all. But I'm no longer waiting for other people to decide whether I deserve love. I built a life that belongs completely to me. And honestly, that's enough. Because real endings aren't always perfect. Sometimes they're simply honest. And after 20 years of silence, honesty finally set me free. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more real-life stories like this. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my place?